She says, we call ourselves abolitionists, but we ain't abolished a thing. I was like, well, damn. Okay, girl. Hey, y'all, what's up? I am back with the review of Underground, Season 2, Episode 5, Minty. This episode is all about Harriet Tubman, and it gives us a lot of background on her life and how she first became the leader of the Underground Railroad, so to speak. Or not necessarily the leader, but she started her journey on the Underground Railroad and how she helped lead others to freedom. So I wasn't even sure how to do this review, so bear with me, because it's all Harriet. She is talking to a room full of abolitionists, and Mrs. Steele asked her to speak. She starts off in the room. She's getting dressed. The crowd of abolitionists are coming in, and she's sitting there. She's pacing somewhat. You see, she feels a tad bit nervous or a tad bit unsure, so she goes in prayer to get her strength to go out here and do what she needs to do. And I found it so ironic that they're holding this speech in an auction house. You see the lot numbers on different paintings. You see the sign up about the property and how payments need to be made. And it's dark and it's dingy. And so like the first 10 minutes, I was just sitting there listening in total awe to her story. And then I said, oh crap, you need to be taking some notes, because this is all about her. This whole speech to the abolitionist is the story. It is the meat, the potatoes, and the gravy with a side of fresh vegetables. That's what this is. This episode is going to be. And I saw people posting on Twitter about it last night, but for some reason Underground came on at the same time as Shots Fired. So I chose Shots Fired because I know usually I can get a good signal. So I chose Shots Fired, and I said I will come back and watch Underground. And man, okay, so give me a second. I need to give me a bottle of water. All right, y'all. So like I said, I don't even know how this is going to come across in this video. I don't want too much of a glare on my glasses, but I need to read. I think I need to read this one right here, this go around. I don't read with my glasses on though, so maybe I don't need to read. It starts off with Harriet talking about how slavery taught her a couple things. Taught her to be very afraid of white people and what they could do to her. And it was kind of like shocking to her that right now she's in a room full of white people and she still feels that way. You know, sometimes she hasn't learned how to really let go of that, because she always looking at you sideways, you know. So it's not necessarily fear at this time, but she also learned how to love pain. I was like, what the fuck? So as a young girl, her mama worked in the master's house, right? She said she never wanted to do that. Her mama would cook and clean, and every once in a while she learned how to move through the house. She said, like a spirit, like a ghost, unseen through the house. And as a young girl, like I said, she never wanted to do this. So these are lessons that she never took a hold of. All she knew is that she didn't want to do that. So it wasn't until she started to go on the Underground Railroad that she started to put her mother's lessons to use, like how to move stealthily, how to pick up information that you need and store it so you can use it at a later time to your benefit, how to move without being seen. These are lessons that her mom taught her by living in the big house. So her master used to hire her out to different people, which I thought that was kind of odd that she always used the term hire. So I guess, you know, they would send her off to other plantations, and they would pay the master for her to be a temporary loan. She was a temp agent, pretty much, at a young tender age. And she went off to this first lady, and the first lady was trying to teach her how to, you know, thread a loom and sew with the loom and everything. She never quite got that right. So she got hired off to a few different people, and she finally got hired off to this one lady who wanted her to sweep. She didn't teach her how to do it. She just stuck the broom in her hand and said, go for it. And so she would sweep. And then she would dust. And the lady come in and it wasn't right. So she took a rawhide to her and she cracked her. And then so she put the broom in her hand and she did it again and she sweeped it and she dusted. And the lady still didn't like it. She came back, Miss Susan, that was her name, came back and cracked her again with the rawhide. And she kept cracking her. She kept cracking her, cracking her. She never understood what she was doing wrong. But she kept getting beat, and she kept getting beat. And she said the entire time, she wouldn't make a sound. She figured that by making a sound, it would be giving them what they wanted. So she learned defiance. And she thought defiance was what freedom really was about. Now, I skipped a little part when she was talking about her mom. She got sick going to work for that first lady back and forth, come across the swamp. And her mama convinced them that she needed to not go back over there because she's going to end up dead. And the dead slave wasn't worth no money. So she ended up stopped doing that job. And so she thought there was a victory for her mother. So she thought victory was freedom. So she always had this taste for freedom. So right now she thought victory was freedom. She thought defiance was freedom. And she said she was the most rebellious little kid. She would do all the craziest things. She would be so mischievous. She would steal. And one day the master and Massa and Susan got into it, and they was arguing. They had a big argument going on. And she said she was standing there just looking at this bowl of sugar. She wanted a little sugar cube, and she said she was creeping while they was arguing. Go get that little sugar, and she reached for it, and somehow Susan saw her and tried to take that hide to her, and she said she took off running. And then she was running and running and running. And then she said at that moment, stealing the little moment of joy in her life, that was freedom. She realized that freedom was like knowing that they didn't own the spirit that was in her. That was freedom. And people have always wondered, like, what's the scar? How she got the scar on her head. They heard about her spells and everything. And they had a lot of tall tales. That she jumped off a cliff 50 feet and she climbed back up. She fought off 6 different men. And I personally have always heard that she got hit in the head with the axe by the master. That's how, you know, her spell started. She got epilepsy, something like that, from her spells. But she said, the truth be told, this all started with her fixing her hair. She had a fascination of trying to make her hair look ruly. Make it, you know, she wanted to lay it down, get some grease from the cooking that was left over from the cooking, and put it in there and slam it down, you know, let it make it hurt, you know, make it hurt. Oh, just lay it down, lay it back, you know, that's how she was doing. So this one particular day, she was looking in a window of a store. She was steady fixing her hair. She needed to go into the store, but she didn't want to go in looking unpresentable. So while she was out there fixing herself up, there was a runaway taking off down the street. And his master, or the overseer, was coming after him hard. And that's all she remembers, that he picked up something metal and he flung it at the runaway. And that was the last thing she remember. She got hit in the head. And from that point on, she started having her spells. And when she started having these spells, she started hearing voices talking to her. And she started having dreams. And every time she'd have a dream, she'd be up in the clouds, just looking down over the land and over the fields and the rivers and the mountains. And she felt like she was flying. She said that was what heaven must have been like, that she was flying and she was free. So in that moment, she learned that she had to see past everything she knew just to believe that there was something out there better. But the problem with that is that sometimes believing in what you know or believing that something else is better, other people are not going to always agree with you. So even though you believe in something's better, other people going to always try to hold you back and keep you from that belief. So she said she believed that she should be free. But Master had other plans for her. So she says this particular time she was sitting there. It was from Christmas to March 1st. And she was just a praying and a praying. Father God, please change Master's heart. Please convert him. Make him a better man. She did this from December all the way to March 1st. And March 1st, his heart still hadn't changed. So she said, after that, she started changing her prayer. She said, Lord, if you ain't going to change his heart, then kill his ass. Take him out. And a week later, Master was dead. So at this moment, she realized that when you pray for something, check your intentions on what you're praying for. Check your intention that what you're praying for is what you're aiming for, because he just might give it to you. Once he died, she said she couldn't pray for him. She had no reason to pray for him no more. She didn't. There's nothing else that she could do to pray for him. She didn't want to pray for herself. She didn't want to waste her prayers on herself or feeling guilty of what she prayed about. But she knew she had to be specific about her prayers. So she started praying and help her for her escape, that she was going to escape. Since the Master had died, his debts had become due. And the only thing that Susan could do was to sell them off. So she was preparing to sell people. So she knew that this moment, it was time for her to run. She had to get away from there. So she talked to her brothers. She had 3 of them. And her brothers was like, oh, that's not what we were going to do. So she had to convince them to actually want to be free. So the whole time they was out there running with her. She said the moon was high and it was bright and the shadows were casted so long it made it look like 8 people was running instead of 4. But while they was out there, they started complaining. Their brothers did. One complaining about which way they should go, how long they should be here, who should be up front. They complaining about everything. Like you've seen in previous episodes, a lot of the men that was running with Rosalie, they doubting the journey, doubting where they should go, when they questioning if she knows what she's talking about. So they got so up in arms that they decided to go back. And they dragged her right on back to that plantation with her. So she knew at that moment that she made a mistake. That she can't convince people to want to be free. That's what she said. She said that because freedom was like a wildfire. It has to consume you and take over your whole body. You have to want it that bad. You can't make people burn for freedom. So she said the next time that she was going to run, she was going to go by herself. When she decided to run, she was leaving her brothers, her mama, her daddy, her husband. She had married a man named John Tubman. She was leaving all of them behind when she decided to run. She had help from an abolitionist who helped her, guide her to her first safe house. So it was people that was already on the run. So a lot of people thought that the Harriet Tubman started the Underground Railroad. There was already people running. There was already safe houses being set up. She joined this journey and took up the reins, and she kept it going. She, you know what I'm saying? She said when she finally crossed the line into freedom, to the free land, she looked at herself and she wanted to see if she felt any different. And she looked any different. She looked up at the skies and she saw that the sun looked like gold kissing the trees, and they was laying across the fields, and she felt like that she was in heaven, and that she had been reborn, but there was nobody there to welcome her into the land of freedom. But there was a year after she first ran, the tides started changing in government, and laws started changing, and the Fugitive Slave Act came about, which basically means that nowhere was safe in these here United States. If you was a runaway slave, you were considered a fugitive, and you could be taken back down south if you were caught, if you didn't have your freedom papers. And so just a year after being out there, so at this point is when she made up her mind that she needed to go back and help her family make it to freedom. And the first person she thought about was her husband, John. So she decided to steal away. She realized that from December to February was the best time of the year to go. It's cold out. A lot of people ain't out in the fields. You could talk to the people along the Delaware River. The blacks along the Delaware River would help her and pass word. And so she got word down to John that she was coming for him. She was coming for him to help him get free. Kind of find out John had shacked up with another woman, and he wasn't going nowhere. And it was at that moment that she said that she realized that She was married to the cause. She wasn't married to nobody else. And if he, just a year after she had been gone, you know, if he didn't need her, then she didn't need him. So, you know, like I said, back home or back in North, she had worked herself. She took up cooking and cleaning like her mom used to do. And she knew she needed money in a plan to help get other people to freedom. She promised herself that there was only two things in life that was guaranteed to her. And that was death or liberty. If she didn't get liberty, she was going to choose death, because she was not going to get caught alive. She was never going to come back alive. She wasn't going to get caught. So yeah, she took off and she started making several trips back down south. And she said the one way that she used to let the slaves know that she was dead, she would circle back around the slave quarters and she used to sing a song. And I was like, go down Moses. I knew what song it was going to be when she said it. And I was like, okay. I had just asked somebody the other day, was Go Down Moses written before Harriet Tubman? Because I was wondering if that song was written about her or was it written about the Moses in the Bible? Okay. Neither one of us had an answer. We didn't bother to Google it to look up the timestamp on when that song was written. But that was the song that she used to sing. Go down, Moses, way down in freedom land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. So she used to sing that. And everybody would hear that song, they knew it was time to run. Everybody wanted to run, knew it was time to run. All the ones who joined her, so to prevent what happened with her brothers from turning back around, she kept her gun with her. When she was on the run, you was running. I ain't gonna convince you. I'm gonna force you to. That's how this was going down. You ain't going back, because if you go back and you get caught, you're liable to tell people, you know, where we at. Anything can happen. She wouldn't finna have it. You was coming. If you was coming, you was coming. Ain't no turning back. She says she believes that all the work that she has done, from the first time that she helped her cousin get rescued, and that was just by purchasing her off the auction block. You know, having her husband purchase her off the auction block. This is a free man. You could buy your family back. To actually physically going down south and taking people. She thought that was all good work. She thought that what she'd been doing. She thought that all the work that all the abolitionists in that room was doing was good work. But she said things had changed. Something was different. She said now when she lay down and sleep, when she do sleep at all, she don't dream anymore about flying. She always dreams about standing out there in the field, in the dark, in the wilderness. And this serpent comes upon her. And the serpent has the face of a man with a long white beard. That's sure you know who that man or what he wanted. Then it also have two heads come up on the side, and two other men's faces. They were quite younger. She didn't know who they were either. And then out of nowhere, somebody would come up and they would cut the head off the snake's face, the kids first, and then the man in the middle. And she said the man's eyes would always just gaze through her, like they was looking through her soul. And said she never quite understood what that really meant until one day, just a few months ago, a man came a knocking on her door. Opened up her door, and it was the man with the white long beard, Captain John Brown. Thank actually be. I was calling him Joe Brown last week. Captain John Brown. She said that he was a friend of a cause. And by her saying this set up a little rouse in the room. Everybody was back and forth, like how his method, just going over his methods and how, you know, they don't agree with him, and the ones that do agree with him, how he, you know, is putting his life on the line, and he's too roughhouse and all this, that, other. And Elizabeth had to calm the room down and say, hey, Harriet is still speaking, okay? So Harriet said that after she listened to the man, and he talked about war. And the more he said the word war, the more she realized, you know, the more she got used to it, the more she understood it, the more she understood the need for them to go to war. She was like, slavery is like war. They kill our men and our women. They rape our children. Everything that they do in slavery is an act of war against us as a people. And the only thing to do is to fight back. She said she's done every method that she could think of along this journey. The only one she hasn't tried is what John Brown wanted them to do, and that was to go to war. She says, we call ourselves abolitionists, but we ain't abolished a thing. I was like, well, damn. Okay, girl. She said, our actions and our inactions change the course of things. And that's basically what Martin Luther King Jr. has said, is that, hell, I can't even remember the quote now. Y'all know which one I'm talking about. OMG, I can't remember what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said. Y'all know which one I'm talking about. To do nothing, you know, in the face of inequality and supporting inequality itself. Something along that. I can't think now. Oh my God. But it seems that John Brown's method is the only one that she think will work at this point. When she started talking to the camera, it was meant for us. She was like, and you, this is what you need to do. You need to prepare to fight. You need to fight back for everything that you believe in. I mean, she says, you can't sit this one out. Justice needs to prevail right here, right now. You don't have that privilege anymore to not fight for what's right. And I was like, you better go ahead and convict us, girl. Because, I mean, there has been so many times that I have felt like exhausted fighting for freedoms that we need in 2017. Exhausted. I was her brothers. I was tired. I didn't want to turn back, but I was like, fuck it. Actually, I was like her in the beginning. I'm like, fuck, I'm tired of helping people. I can't free them. They don't want to be freed. I'm just going to look out for myself. She says it's time for us to stop looking out for ourselves and to put up a good fight. All of us need to join together and fight for what's right. And I was like, yeah, you, amen. I had my Sunday serving last night, baby. I really did. This was a powerful episode. I was like, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to do a review over somebody's story. She said, this is not even my story. It's not even my story to tell. This is our story, because my story ain't done. And if you ain't ready, if you don't believe that, like John Brown's plea, which is basically a prayer, that's all a prayer is, the same thing as a plea. It's ask for something that you believe in to happen. If you don't believe in that prayer, and you can't pray it yourself, then you need to find yourself a new prayer. And do something that you feel is right and be convicted in it. I was like, okay, now girl, go ahead. She played that part. That was powerful, y'all. I mean, man. Misha Green, Joe Pukowski, y'all wrote the hell out of this episode right here. I'm telling you. All right, y'all. That's Underground. Tell me what you think down below. If I got anything wrong this week, let me know again. Y'all know how I am. Sometimes my brain just don't function all the way right. Y'all know the quote by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. that I referred to. I know somebody gonna tell me down below, because y'all always check me. I appreciate that. All right, y'all. Peace.